This is KGW News at 5.
Hello and welcome to KGW News at 5 o'clock. Our top story, the pandemic may be waning somewhat, but the need for help paying the rent is not letting up. At least that's the case in Clark County, where federal aid continues to pour out to struggling families. Here's Tim Gordon.
The pandemic has taken its toll on our neighbors. When it comes to paying the rent to stay in your home, that has been hard on a lot of Clark County residents.
Thinking, back in March 2020, the scope of this was unimaginable in many ways.
Sunny Wonder is in charge of a rental assistance program at the nonprofit Council for the Homeless. It distributes federal money funneled through the county to keep people in their homes. She says the need is still great.
So we have, I think, created a pretty well-oiled machine from that perspective so that we can make that process as stress-free, knowing that so many folks, they have other things they're dealing with.
Countywide, the numbers get your attention. So far, $29.5 million has gone out in financial assistance. That's helped nearly 38,000 households, paying for more than 31,000 months of rent and utilities since August of 2020.
I didn't know what I was going to do, actually, but I do have a lot of faith, and how can you not be grateful?
Wendy Welton is one of the thousands who has needed help. In her case, she'd stopped working to care for an ailing mother and sister. Her mom, Diane, died in May, her sister, Christy, in September, and Wendy's life got even harder.
A close friend of mine told me it's okay to ask for help. And I am so grateful that I did, because I can grieve without worrying about how I'm going to pay my rent.
For every case, there is a unique reason for needing help. But in general, we know our economy took a big hit, and many workers from low-income households are behind and struggling. Wonder says the end of Washington's eviction moratorium didn't help that.
I think for me and for our team, the motivation is to recognize that folks are in crisis. We're hearing, a lot of stories about folks that never expected to be in this situation.
People like Wendy Welton.
It's pretty crazy. It's really sad. And I know that I'll be able to give back one day, and that is exactly what I plan on doing.
For now, the rent assistance money is still flowing, but it goes fast. Last week, 800 spots were filled in just a half an hour. But there will be more chances to apply, and we have information about that at kgw.com. I'm Tim Gordon, KGW News.
For the first time, Portland Public Schools is getting ready to offer COVID-19 vaccines for kids 5 to 11 years old at some schools. As Christine Pidewanich reports, it's part of a pilot program starting with one school tomorrow.
Portland Public Schools has teamed up with Kaiser Permanente and Medical Teams International to bring COVID-19 vaccines to these 8 schools. They're part of a pilot program starting Wednesday.
I'm the Director of Government Relations for Portland Public Schools, and my other task lately has been to organize vaccine clinics for students.
Courtney Westling says the first vaccine clinic for kids 5 to 11 years old is scheduled for Fabian, a Northeast Portland school with about 700 kids from pre-K to 8th grade.
Yeah, we're really trying to dedicate these initial clinics to the students at that school and their family members. And we're doing that intentionally to make sure that students who face some of our higher barriers have access to vaccines. We're really trying to be equity focused here.
And that's the case for all 8 schools in the pilot. Westling says more than 60 families at Fabian have already registered their kids to get vaccinated, and more are expected to walk up.
There are probably 150 vaccines available for this event. I don't know if we'll get that many students vaccinated because we only have 4 hours. We'll see. We'll do it the best we can.
The clinic is scheduled for 3:30 right after school gets out and will last for 4 hours. A parent or guardian will have to be present, and they'll have to sign a consent form.
We'll have water and snacks available, and hopefully it'll be a really positive experience for everybody, and there won't be too many tears.
And a reminder, this first vaccination clinic is only for kids and families at Fabian. Next week, there will be 5 more vaccination clinics at other schools that are a part of the pilot. Once the pilot is complete, the district hopes to offer more clinics at other schools. Christine Pidewanich, KGW News.
And if you need help finding a place for your child to get the vaccine, text the word vaccine to the phone number on your screen, 503-226-5088. We'll text you back with a link to our article that has a running list of the places where you can book appointments, from pharmacies to county clinics and hospitals. As far as COVID booster shots goes, today Pfizer asked the FDA to authorize its booster for everyone 18 and older. A decision from the FDA is now expected in the coming weeks. Pfizer's booster is currently authorized for those 65 and older, people living in long-term care facilities, or people 18 and older who have a high risk from COVID due to a medical condition or their job. Pfizer says data from a clinical trial of more than 10,000 people shows a third shot is safe. A disturbing story in Vancouver where a woman says she was randomly shot in the leg while she was out training for a half marathon. Alicia Nilo says it happened on the Paddon Parkway Trail near Northeast 117th last month. She said she felt a sharp pain in her hip, and when she looked down, she noticed blood coming from a hole in her clothes. Alicia's mother talked to us about what her daughter has been through.
I was thanking God that she wasn't more injured than she was, that it didn't take her life. When she was examined at the hospital, because she was brought to the hospital by ambulance, they discovered that if it had been even a fraction of an inch anywhere different, it would have either torn through her internal organs, embedded in her spine. I mean, so things could have been even worse than this. So we were just really mixed feelings, you know.
Alicia is still in pain and needs to learn to walk again, but with physical therapy, she is expected to make a full recovery. As for the shooting, authorities are still investigating. Clark County deputies told Alicia and her family they don't have a suspect. A GoFundMe has been launched to help the family, and we have a link on KGW.com. Catastrophic at times. That's how a grand jury is describing a staffing shortage inside Multnomah County jails. A grand jury spent the last several weeks examining the condition and management of the 4 correctional facilities in Multnomah County. A critical staffing shortage was one of the takeaways. This resulted from early retirements and staff burnout, all of it taking, quote, quite a toll on morale. The grand jury suggested offering hazard pay and assignment-based bonuses could be a way to improve staffing, maybe even hire back some retirees. Sheriff Mike Reese says the sheriff's office has already ramped up recruitment, hiring, and retention efforts. We'll take a closer look at the grand jury report on the story coming up at 6 o'clock. In the race for Oregon governor in 2022, former New York Times columnist Nick Kristof is leading the pack as far as fundraising goes. He's gained more than $1 million in less than a month. That includes significant out-of-state donors like Melinda French Gates and the Angelina Jolie Family Trust. The campaign also says it has contributors from every Oregon county except Sherman, with more than 2,500 Oregonians contributing altogether. Kristof's Democratic rivals include House Speaker Tina Kotek with $414,000 raised. State Treasurer Tobias Reed has raised $485,000. And on the Republican side, Salem oncologist Bud Pierce has reported nearly $750,000. Sandy Mayor Stan Pulliam has more than $500,000 in contributions. A first-of-its-kind company here in the Pacific Northwest is back open after being shut down for months because of the pandemic. It takes what would be agricultural waste and turns it into paper products. Columbia Pulp first opened in 2019 near Dayton, Washington. It was the first in the nation to make paper out of straw instead of trees. Straw is what's left in the ground after wheat is harvested, and there's plenty in eastern Washington and Oregon. To get rid of that straw, many farmers burn it.
The carbon footprint of our process is approximately half that of conventional fiber making processes. In addition, we avoid the burning of over 100,000 acres of wheat straw fields by farmers.
Columbia Pulp partners with Willamette Falls Paper Mill in West Lynn to make everything from bags and bagel sleeves to wine bottle wrapping. The company's in talks with a number of other manufacturers near and far to make straw pulp paper products of all kinds.